Greetings, programs. This is Wretch. Welcome back to VTM Coteries of New York. And Xavier seems to be getting somewhat comfortable in his vampiric skin, guys. In the last episode, we watched as Howard, the anarch who assaulted us in the park, was sentenced to death by the prince for attacking a member of the Camarilla, and he tried to get away, but Xavier used his very first vampiric power, the supernatural speed known as celerity, to grab hold of Howard's jacket before he could get away. Now, it didn't really matter a whole lot in the long run because Howard was in the middle of getting his head removed by Kadir, the sheriff, but just the fact that Xavier showed that initiative seemed to somewhat impress both Kadir and the prince, so I'd say that's probably a good thing. I guess we'll have to see. But we're in the middle of resting in our haven, and the first thing we gotta do when we wake up is go visit Sophie. So, let's see what happens. Once more... lots of word. Once more, darkness falls upon the city. You wake up, same as you have these past few nights, in a windowless room. As you pry open the reinforced steel door, you look out the window to see, invariably, a sky bereft of sunlight. And then it hits you. The hunger. For a moment, you let yourself wonder if there will ever come a night when it's just not there. Given what you've learned thus far, you probably have as much chance of kick-starting your heart with jumper cables. You lock the apartment behind you and head over to Sophie's apartment. You did promise to call on her. Might as well not keep the lady waiting. And hey, what else are you gonna do? Call Em? She's probably worried. At least she will be once she actually tries to give you a call, which might not happen for a few more weeks. Months, if she's busy doing press for her new piece. You could try to track down your sire, if the sheriff hasn't done that already. After all, he did buy your painting. There has to be a money trail, right? But even if so, what would you say to him? These thoughts put you in a weird mood. It's a strange sensation to walk the crowded streets, same as you have so many times before, but feeling so disconnected. All these people. You're not one of them. Not anymore. You're a vampire, Kindred, and you need to carve your own path in this strange new existence, one way or another. Appropriately enough, you arrive at Sophie's building just as that thought crosses your mind. A quick word with the security guard and you're led into the elevator. Apparently, Mrs. Langley is expecting you. Of course she is. You knock and wait patiently as the footsteps on the other side grow closer. Finally, the door opens and Gregory, Sophie's driver, invites you in. You find the lady herself standing by the window, silhouetted against the city's midnight glow. She stares out, motionless, like a marble statue. Hey, am I interrupting something? She doesn't react immediately, but she seems to snap out of some meditative state and looks at you with strangely bleary eyes. Yes, you are, but that's all right. I've been meaning to ask you something. When you look out at this city, when you see the lights, hear the hum, smell the rain on the pavement, what do you think about? You gaze out. You thought the city couldn't surprise you anymore. You lived here all your life, after all. But tonight something feels different. You realize, in this moment, that you have truly changed. Yes, you know what Sophie means. The way she gazed out that window and saw the truth beyond. You do the same. The view is fascinating. Each detail absorbing, every angle a new experience, the familiar made sublime. When you turn to Sophie again, she smiles at you knowingly. Ah, so you understand. I had my doubts, but perhaps we are of shared lineage after all. And the lineage is the weakness. Not only do you have certain powers as a member of a clan, but you also have weaknesses. For the Toreador, at least during 3rd edition, they were transfixed by things they considered beautiful. I think it's fairly similar in 5th edition, but I guess we'll have to see. You see, the blood that flows within me is that of Clan Toreador. There are 13 such bloodlines among us kindred, though that number has been contested in the past, and these nights, it seems that nothing is certain anymore. The clans have gone by many epitaphs over the years, but the names used these nights have their roots in medieval times. The original Inquisition, if you can believe it. They used to categorize us, describe our inherent differences. In time, we adopted them ourselves. Each clan has a uniqueness about it, inescapable, originating from an ancient progenitor, carried from sire to child. For the Toreador, the gift lies in a sensitivity of sorts. We are uniquely attuned to beauty and ugliness both. We can see either where most cannot. A blessing on most nights, and occasionally a curse. What's one of the more interesting things about Toreador is they are the most linked with humanity. Out of all of the other clans, they are the ones who will spend more time around humans, just because of art and things of that nature, so in a lot of ways you can consider them the most tragic. The sheriff is of my clan as well, although you'd be hard-pressed to see him as such. Poor Kadir. It breaks my heart to see him in this state. I did not think Kadir was a Toreador. Still, there is a beauty to it as well. Nothing like a good fall from grace. Try as she might to act playful, you can tell she genuinely cares. She lets her gaze wander for a brief moment, but is quick to regain her composure. Then there are the Ventru, known for their pride and proclivity to rule over others. The prince represents that clan, as is quite common in our society around the globe. Where the Blue Bloods think themselves rulers, the Bruja like to see themselves as preeminent revolutionaries. They call for universal rebellion while being slaves to their own temper. We don't discuss the rabble much anymore, not after they've largely broken off with the Camarilla. Think they were philosophers long ago. I hope to tell you more about some of the other bloodlines tonight. Well, say I meet a vampire for the first time. How can I tell what their clan is? Usually you cannot, with a few exceptions perhaps. For some clans, the uniqueness I mentioned bleeds into their appearance or disposition, but even that can be misleading. Outside of a few specific cases, knowing one's clan is less important than understanding who they are personally, what drives them, their wants and needs, weaknesses too. Speaking of which, we come to the reason I wanted to speak to you tonight. It is customary in our society, especially among younger kindred, to organize into coteries. Sometimes these are called by the prince themselves or mandated by a fledgling sire. In our case, you may treat it as more of a strong recommendation. I want you to seek out companions, not only because you need to learn more about our society, but also because it is useful. True friendships are rare among kindred, but having allies, even temporary ones, is something of a necessity these nights. We might be selfish creatures, but we are drawn to each other nonetheless. So, tell me, are you part of a coterie? Any close allies? I do have those I trust enough to work with, yes. Not a coterie exactly, though I have joined several of those over the years. Not in over a century, though. You, however, you would do well to meet some of the city's younger kindred and see if you can find a connection. It's an essential experience for one so young. She puts on a mysterious smile. I spent some of my precious time last night asking around, pondering potential kindred for you to meet. I came up with a short list of contacts. I hope you'll appreciate the gesture. Forging a partnership with them might offer perspectives and viewpoints that I could not provide, lenses through which to view our kind. They are all members of the Camarilla, of course. More or less. All right, then. Let's hear it. Who's on the list? Eager to learn about them, I see? Good. I'm glad. So let us start with the Tremere. Oh, God. Okay, well, this is escalating quickly. They are a powerful clan, disliked by many, but feared and respected by many more. They have been an important pillar of the Camarilla since the very beginning. They are blood sorcerers. Blood sorcerers? You could swear you once saw them play at the Apollo. Probably not the same blood sorcerers, though. Sophie snickers. Oh, child, don't be caught with that look on your face when you meet a warlock in person. They really are adept at using vitae, their own, as well as others, to unique and potent effects. Since they are quite rigid in their hierarchy, the kindred I had in mind for you might need some persuading. His name is Agathon. From what I hear, he is quite the scholar, very ambitious, the child of a noted Tremere here in New York, Aisling Sturbridge. Oh, that's interesting. Spend enough time with Agathon, and I'm sure you'll run into her sooner or later. Oh, don't say okay. Yeah, I think Xavier would be fascinated with the concept of blood magic. This whole blood magic thing sounds intriguing. Oh yes, fascinating. It's also a well-kept secret of the Tremere. Don't expect them to share it right away. Some things have to be earned. Anyway, if you wish to contact the young Tremere, I hear you can usually find him in a New Age bookstore out on Broadway. The Tremere have one of their workshops there. Gregory will give you the details. Now, this next recommendation comes with a bit of a caveat. As you recall me saying, most bloodlines have unique features that might not be obvious at first glance. Well, there is one clan whose members wear their curse on their sleeve. The Nosferatu. Wait, Nosferatu? As in the German Expressionist classic? No way. No wonder they make their havens in sewers, abandoned buildings and such. Their appearance is hideous and obviously unnatural. Had they walked the streets like other kindred, the kind would have learned of our existence long ago. Did she just shudder? It's hard to tell with her usual complexion, but you could swear her skin suddenly took an even more sickly color. The one I have in mind isn't as big an eyesore as the worst of them, but he is no Adonis either. Still, he has some useful talents and connections that you might find useful. His name is D'Angelo, and he has an office, for lack of a better term, in the otherwise abandoned grain terminal in Red Hook, right next to one of those Swedish stores. The name escapes me. The one with the awful furniture. I assume she's talking about IKEA. You mentioned this D'Angelo has some useful connections? I was just getting to that. D'Angelo does odd jobs for Kadir, digging up dirt, locating kindred who prefer to remain hidden, the kind of work the Nosferatu are best at. He's on a case right now, something to do with kind murders, I think. After your initial brush with our dear sheriff, I think it would be wise to show some goodwill toward his agenda. Assisting D'Angelo with his investigation might be just the thing. She takes a brief pause to look out the window again. Now come the two more exotic proposals. Exotic. as if the blood mage and the vampire detective were business as usual. You may have heard about the Gangrel before. They're a wild clan, in touch with their beast in ways others might not dare to attempt. They mostly keep out of big cities, but there are exceptions. Nominally, they have been part of the Camarilla for over 2 decades, but the one kindred I would like you to meet has strong, shall we say, familial ties to the sect. Her name is Tamika. Her sire, Jezebel, was instrumental during the Battle of New York back in 1999, the very same battle that cemented the city as a Camarilla domain. Sadly, her achievements have gone largely unrecognized. Yeah, because in the Battle of New York, because in VTM 3rd edition, New York, at least huge sections of New York, were, Sabbat influenced significantly. Tamika and a number of her siblings still reside in the domain they were awarded after the battle, Prospect Park. Jezebel herself left the city some years ago, fed up with being underappreciated. I should ask if I should contact non-Camarilla clans, but I figure if it was taboo, Sophie would let us know. Siblings? Like, actual biological brothers and sisters? No, not in the mortal sense. The Gangrels sometimes use the word brood to indicate children begat by the same sire. As you can probably tell, they do take the whole animal motif quite far. I'm not sure how many of them there are, but they are rumored to be a tight-knit group. The Gangrel often act on instinct, so when you meet Tamika or her siblings, be careful not to slight them. They are easily provoked and can hold a grudge for a long time. I speak from experience. So you see, seeking out Tamika could prove quite educational, if nothing else. And who knows, perhaps you'll find her temperament to be a welcome change of pace. But speaking of a change of pace, I have one last suggestion for you, though it's one I don't make lightly. The kindred who calls herself Hope. Oh, I sense some Malkavian. My madness network is tingling. She's a Malkavian. Mm-hmm. They are a uniquely cursed clan. For centuries we considered them mad, insane, unhinged. But those of us who spend enough time with them come to understand the truth. It is no sickness, but a unique perception of the world that has them appear to be to us as unstable, and that perception can prove to be very valuable. Having a Malkavian as your companion might be taxing on the nerves and a true test of patience at times, but their insight and intuition are unrivaled among kindred. As for Hope specifically, she is said to be a recluse, but I have it on good authority that she is currently be found in an internet cafe, I believe it's called, in Lower Manhattan. Gregory has the address. Where did you learn about her exactly? One of my colleagues told me about her. He considers her uniquely talented and tapped into the current fads among kind. Not something I'm personally interested in, as I'm sure you know by now. I take his word for it, at any rate. Well, I believe that's all of them. I still have a few social calls to make tonight, so I'll leave you to it. Use tonight and tomorrow night to arrange some cordial visits of your own. I will send Gregory for you as soon as I have further need of your services. Oh, that reminds me. You'll need a car. Join us downstairs, won't you? She smiles once more and turns to her driver. He helps her put on her coat, and the three of you leave Sophie's apartment. Sophie points to one of the cars near the building as Gregory hands you the keys. It's a rather inconspicuous compact car. A decent-looking, if not luxurious, ride. Stay safe, Xavier. This is your first night alone. Don't let it be your last. As they drive away, you find yourself with more freedom than you've had for the past few nights. A blessing or a burden? Time will tell. With a list of addresses in your hand, you consider your next move. Okay, so looks like we have only 4 that we can currently converse with. I assume that is the Gangrel. That might be the Bruja. That might be the Malkavian. No, actually, I see an Illuminati symbol. That's probably the Tremere. I thought there was more than this. Okay, so Gangrel. No, actually no. These were who they talk. Okay, never mind. So that's definitely not Nosferatu. So this is the Nosferatu right here. Here's our detective. Our rabble-rouser, our Gangrel, our Tremere. Where's our Malkavian at, though? Well, which, and more importantly, who do we talk to? Well, Xavier did show an interest in blood magic, and I'm a huge Tremere fan myself, if you guys remember my very first series on YouTube, so let's go here. Oh, this is Hope. Okay, never mind. I stand corrected. Searching for Hope. Sophie suggested you meet Hope, a reclusive member of the Malkavian clan. She's supposedly holed up in an internet cafe in Lower Manhattan. Gumshoe in the dark. A recent string of violent killings has the Red Hook district of Brooklyn on edge. Sophie mentioned that Kadir Asmai has a secret associate investigating the murders, a Nosferatu neonate by the name of D'Angelo. If you help him out, he might be persuaded to form a lasting partnership. Jezebel's Childer. Sophie mentioned a Gangrel neonate by the name of Tamika who's made herself a haven in Prospect Park. The Ferals aren't exactly a social bunch, even by Kindred standards, but if you can keep her from clawing your eyes out just long enough, she might be persuaded to join you. Okay, so I guess that we just don't... Oh, never mind. Agathon! I forgot that Tremere was a guy. Sophie's mention of a vampire clan of blood sorcerers sparked your attention. One of them, Agathon, could potentially be your introduction into the bizarre powers of the Tremere. Well, I'm hoping that maybe we'll get like 1 or 2 people to join us. To tell you the God's honest, though, the person that we should jump in with first off, and it's strange considering the fact we're playing a Toreador, is our Nosferatu friend, because that is definitely, that would help Kadir, and Kadir is currently investigating, trying to find out who our sire is. So this is going to be quite the odd couple, and I would like to go to the Tremere there, but yeah, Gumshoe in the dark. As you make your way down Clinton Street, the incessant hum of traffic gives way to the ominous silence of the waterfront. You stop to take in the familiar bouquet of the Hudson, made all the more potent by your recently sharpened senses. Across the basin, the Red Hook grain terminal rears its rusty frame, once a bustling industrial area, now a sleeping giant splayed out on the riverbank. Forgotten. Abandoned. Conveniently so, especially for one of the hidden. Keeping to the shadows, you sneak closer to the dilapidated complex, making your way past hole-ridden silos and wobbly chain-link fences. By the time you reach the entrance to the main building, you can almost feel the rust particles making themselves cozy at the back of your throat. Not getting your hopes up, you give the door a slight nudge. To your surprise, it gives almost instantly. Looks like someone's been using it recently. Once inside, you find yourself in a large empty hall. Looking around, you can almost picture it back in its heyday, stacked to the rafters with heavy machinery. You notice a set of stairs leading up to a mezzanine, most likely an office space, and then you see it. A faint light coming from one of the upper rooms. Looks like you're in luck. Quietly, with bated breath, you climb the steps and approach the dimly lit room. The door creaks open, revealing what looks like an old-timey detective's office, complete with crooked window blinds, an overflowing ashtray, and paper scattered across a wooden desk. Suddenly, it hits you. That nagging feeling. This is all too convenient, too inviting. Before you can react, the trap is already sprung. A plume of cigar smoke wafts over your shoulder. The barrel of a gun rubs against your spine. A raspy voice whispers in your ear. "Let me guess. You took a wrong turn at the third silo." I don't think presence would be a good thing right now. Let's attempt to talk. You decide to play along. Raising your arm slowly, you weigh your next words carefully. You're pretty sure a bullet to the back wouldn't kill you, but it doesn't sound too pleasant either. Let's be sarcastic. That seems like a good call. You mean this isn't Bloodsuckers Anonymous? A noise rattles behind your head, like someone shook a full can of gravel. It might have been a chuckle, but your guess is as good as anyone's. Wise guy, huh? Luckily for you, I've got a soft spot for wise guys, so I'll give you a chance to explain yourself. In a strange interplay of light and shadow, the stranger reappears behind his desk. Seeing him in his full, for lack of a better word, glory, you can't help but smirk. This is the dreaded Nosferatu? The way Sophie described him, you were expecting some grotesque monstrosity, but this guy? The clothes, the swagger, the hard-boiled detective routine, it all comes across as a bad joke. Still, when it comes to appearance, his lineage is undeniable. From 30 feet away, you could probably pass for a bum with a nasty skin condition, or he could. From 5 feet away, he looks like something made to be seen from 30 feet away. He leans back in his chair, casually pointing his gun at you. "So, what brings you to my humble office?" Are you the one they called D'Angelo? Yeah, that's my name, kid. Don't wear it out. My friends call me Jin, so you best stick to D'Angelo for the time being. Now, I suggest you tell me what this is about. Otherwise, I kindly ask you to get the fuck out of my office. See why it keeps you. That's charming. I can see why Kadir keeps you around. His expression sours. That's not a name you want to casually toss around, kid. But hey, I get it. You're not some random schmuck who wandered in here off the street. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Who I work for is less important. What I'm working on, however. The Red Hook murders. I know. I want to help you catch the killer. His moldy lips twist into a smile. Do you now? D'Angelo lowers his shades. For a few seconds, he sits motionless with his eyes fixed on you. Suddenly, he raises his gun, almost making you flinch. Almost. Then, he twirls it into his shoulder holster in a flashy display that definitely looks like it was practiced. A lot. In front of a mirror. You see the Nosferatu's lips move, but the quiet mumbling clearly isn't meant for your ears. Listening in, you're able to catch snippets of his monologue. Yeah, sure, they seem to care. What's their end game? What's their angle? Everyone's got one, even if they pretend like they don't. Especially then. What the hell? Maybe this town finally got to me. He pauses and sticks a fresh cigar between his crooked teeth. Maybe a good leap of faith is just what the doctor ordered. Offer him a light? Oh, no. Oh, Roshrek. Oh, Wretch, what were you thinking? As he reaches into his pocket, you flash a lit lighter before his eyes. Or maybe you could use a healthy dose of unhealthy. Okay, I thought I would just lit it right in front of his face. That would have been bad. Then, he leans over to your lighter, puffing on the cig as it catches fire. A smile comes back to his lips. I like you, kid. You might look like a used car salesman, but there's just something about you. Tell you what, I was just about to head back to the crime scene, take a look around, refresh my notes. You can tag along if you want to. I could use an assistant. Someone to take notes and make wild assumptions for me to shoot down. Who knows? If you're any good, I might consider making this a long-term arrangement. Sounds good. Sure it does, kid. I'm the one who said it. Just one more thing. You still got me at a disadvantage here. Seems like you've done some digging on me, but with you, I've barely scratched the surface. You catch my drift? So answer me this. Who was it that sent you into my neck of the woods, or in layman's terms? Who do you work for? Well, Sophie didn't say that we had to keep it secret, so... Sophie Langley. For the first time since you got here, the Nosferatu adopts a look of genuine surprise. His eyes wander for a moment, finally giving way to a crooked smile. So you're the one, huh? The fledgling the Toreador dame spared. Yeah, that would make sense. Don't think she'd appreciate you throwing her name around. But thanks for being up front, kid. One blink is enough for you to miss D'Angelo vanishing from his chair. Just when you're about to look around, he appears right next to you. Up close, his smile is even more unnerving. Alright, moonlight's burning. Let's get cracking. Alright guys, well, it looks like we've got ourselves a partner now with D'Angelo the Nosferatu. It's definitely an odd couple. But we will see if I made the right call, hopefully in the next episode. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you liked the episode, please leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, that'd be a big help. And we'll see you next time. Later days, everyone.